And if I get drunk and I pass out on the floor now, baby, you won't bother me no more, no more, no more. And if you're drinking, well, you know that you're my friend, and I say, I think I'll have myself a beer. That's right.
You know what? I think maybe we should have a beer.
Yeah, but only if there's music involved, if you know what I'm saying.
I think I do.
Because this is American Brews and Tunes. Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-dow! Whoa! Welcome back to another fun episode of American Brews and Tunes.
Oh my goodness, it feels like just a couple of seconds ago. If you're listening consecutively to these episodes.
If that's the case. But anyways, my name is Stephen Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
And this is episode number 68. We are back to our regular format in which I recommend a album for Jesse to review, and he does the same for me.
Yeah.
So this past, however many weeks it's been, I don't remember, I've been listening to an album by the Arctic Monkeys called Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not.
Oh, sounds kind of mysterious.
Maybe, maybe not. Actually, it sounds pretty straightforward.
Well, I also have been listening to an album, not by the Arctic Monkeys, but by the Vandals for the past X amount of weeks. And it is called Hitler Bad, Vandals Good.
That is also pretty straightforward, I think. Maybe more straightforward, I don't know. But as always, we will touch upon those albums. But before we do, let's talk about these beers we're about to review for you.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, as always on our regular format episodes, Jesse tries a beer and I try a different beer.
Yes.
And we probably couldn't have more different beers of the same style.
Oh, the same style?
We both are drinking a double IPA, I believe, right?
Yes, double IPA.
But I think yours is going to be extraordinarily different than mine.
I think so, yeah.
Mine is from a brewery called Decadent Ales, and I have had some brews from them before on this podcast.
Okay, yeah.
I had the Tropical Smoothie IPA, and I had the French... I think it was like... It wasn't French toast, but it was like the maple something or
toast,
other.
Something or other.
Maple...
That tasted like French toast, right?
Yeah. But this week, I'm having the Pecan Pie double IPA.
Ooh.
So it says it's a double IPA with pecans and maple syrup.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, so it says it's got that, they're trying to recreate that salty caramel taste of pecan pie.
Nice.
Do you say pecan or pecan?
I say pecan.
Yeah, me too. I always thought it was funny when people say pecan.
Pecan pie.
And in fact, there was this episode of the Lizzie McGuire show. I don't know if you recall that TV show.
I know what it is, but I never really watched it too much.
Oh, we watched a lot. And on one episode,
Lizzie McGuire show.
Lizzie's teacher came over for dinner with her family.
Yeah.
He's like, I brought over some pecan pie. And Lizzie's dad says, I love pecan pie. And it's not that funny of a line, but just because they said pecans, me and my sister thought it was the best. And so we would go around saying, I love pecan pie. It's objectively not funny at all, but we would just go around, horrible, unfunny inside joke.
Good.
But that's what I think of.
Now everybody knows about that inside joke.
Well, at least everyone who listens to this episode.
Yeah.
All three people.
Probably more than that. Maybe like 20.
Maybe like 4.
Maybe
5. Who knows? But so I'm having a pecan
pie beer.
Double IPA.
And I'm having a double IPA from the brewery Sixpoint. They are from Brooklyn, right?
Yes, somewhere in New York City, somewhere in the city itself.
Yeah. But this double IPA is called Dabble, and it is brewed with some, I believe, experimental hops. I'll just read what the back of this beer says. It says, there's nothing quite like your first taste. Yeah. Hop farmers are breeding insane new flavors. One sip and you'll be hooked. To truly harness these new flavors, though, you've got to dabble a bit and test them out.
Clever.
This new hop blend blew our minds. So for Dabble, we're taking our experiment full scale with massive loads of hops, so everyone can experience it. And the hops they use are Sabro, Sabro,
Whatever that means.
Cashmere, and Idaho 7.
Idaho 7. I like that one.
Sabro
potato hop.
provides an incredible coconut note. Cashmere brings a soft, delicate complexity, and Idaho 7 brings potency.
You mean potato and
depth.
C?
Potato MC. Dip a toe in. Dare to dabble.
Dare to dabble.
I dare to dabble, Steve. So
Well, I dare to eat a pecan pie.
now here's the interesting thing about this. It's 8.2% alcohol by volume,
Yeah.
ABV. Guess what did you already look at the can?
I looked at the can, but I didn't look at the...
Guess what the IBU is, the International Bittering Unit measurement for this.
For an experimental, where they're using loads of experimental hops, a double IPA to 8.2, I would guess for it to be like 60 to 70.
You'd guessed incorrectly, sir.
What would it be?
Very cold.
Well, I don't know which direction you're going to go.
Try it out.
12.
Warmer.
20?
Exactly.
Really?
Third guess.
That's pretty good for 3 guesses.
Yeah, so
That's very low for a double
20,
IPA.
20 IBU? I mean, that's normally like what a lager is.
Maybe a slightly hoppy lager, but
Slightly
yeah.
hoppy lager, yeah.
That's,
Like maybe a session IPA or something like that.
it's going to be very drinkable, I suppose.
Yeah, I just wouldn't imagine that a double IPA that's 8.2% would ever have 20 IBU.
I wouldn't either, but you know what they
Crazy.
say.
But it is a... You know what they say?
I wasn't going to elaborate, and I'm still not going to. What say you that we crack our cans?
Yeah, let's do that. This was canned on the 13th of January of this year. Best before July 12th.
Oh, so yours is very fresh. I don't know when
Yeah.
mine was canned or any of that business, but I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
I bought it fresh. I know that.
All right, let's give this a try.
Yes. And just to remember, when I did have that maple French toast, whatever that was,
Yeah.
it really wasn't that hoppy. Like I remember upon tasting, I was like, "This doesn't even
Yeah,
taste like an IPA."
it's a double IPA though, right?
Yeah, it was a double IPA, and I was like, "This doesn't taste like an IPA at all." It was really odd. So I'm curious how hoppy this is going to be. Color-wise, ours are extremely similar.
I think mine's a little bit darker, a little bit hazier.
Yours is hazier, but it's
pretty much
fairly
the same
similar,
color
yeah.
though, yeah.
Mine is not hazy, but it's really sedimenty.
Sedimentary.
Like
Sedimentary,
if you
my
get
dear
go
Stephen.
ahead and take a close look at mine. You can see them all up in there. All the sediment just suspended in the brew.
Suspended within the beer.
So I'd say that we give our magic cheers and give these a try.
Sounds like a plan.
Alakazam!
Just want to wait for the head to go down a little bit.
Oh. Also, Alakazam is not our magical cheer.
This is what it is.
Abracadabra! JK, guys. Wingardium Leviosa! Expecto Patronum! Nah, but for real.
Enough with Harry Potter talk.
Shibbity-boo-doo! Down the hatch.
Partially down the hatch.
Nope, this is pretty on par with the last one where it's not, like there's a hot presence, but it's really not there. It kind of tastes like, it's hard to, I don't want to say a strong ale because it's not even that strong, but it does taste caramely and pecan-y.
Pecan-y.
Not at first. At first, it's like a weird sweetness, and then it gets like that sticky pecan, like gooey flavor that you get, and it is like a dessert.
In a pecan pie.
Super duper sweet. One of the sweetest beers I can think of that's not like a fruity beer or a stout.
What's that lady's name in Harry Potter? Sybil Trelawney.
Trelawney, yeah,
Is her name Sybil though?
something like that.
Whenever you said pecan-y, that's what I thought.
Pecan-y, Trelawney.
Was Trelawney.
What's going on with yours?
Whoa. Well, first of all, I just had a really nice hop burp from it. It is definitely not too bitter. It's really smooth, but it still has a really intense, like really well balanced, deep body. I can kind of see what they're talking about with the coconut note on those on that Sabro hop. There's like a slight tropical note to this beer, but it is very thick and it's very drinkable. It tastes very good.
Does it taste experimental?
A hint of experimental in this beer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's kind of like, you know how some beers are like really dank?
Yes.
This beer is dank, but in a way different way. It's not like the typical hemp dankiness. It's pretty good though.
That's true.
Now we'll do a little switch ski, and I'll try Steve's beer. Let's see if I can taste the pecan pie.
Yeah. So you definitely see if you can taste that pecan pie.
I will.
And I'm going to see if I taste these experimental hops and whatnot. I can get those hop pellet smells. It smells delicious.
Wow, that one does kind of taste like pecan pie. What do you think?
Super smooth, not very hoppy. It does have that light dankness.
Yeah, but it's kind of
It's
like dull.
Dank light.
Dank light?
Yeah,
but
dank
not
light.
in a bad way, though.
No, in a good way. It tastes like what a session ale should taste like.
Oh.
Even though it's like twice the alcohol content of a session ale.
Interesting.
Because it tastes like reserved and stripped back, but delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the sweetness on this one?
Yeah.
Almost like overly sweet, but not quite.
Yeah.
Did you kind of experience a little bit like that gooey, sticky caramel, whatever the flavor you want to call it?
Yeah.
Just like
yeah,
the
I think
pie.
I did.
Weird.
It's kind of lingering, too.
It's weird, but good.
It's nice.
I'm not sure that you would want to have more than one can of these because
don't
it's
think so.
decadent.
That one might even be a splitter.
Yeah, it's decadent for sure.
Decadent faux show.
And in fact, when I checked this beer in, I said dessert faux show.
Did you really?
Quite literally. I don't know if you want to confirm that, but you can.
No, I believe you.
All right, so shall we dive in?
Yeah, we shall. Do
Who
you want to
went
go first?
last? Did you go first last time?
Um,
Probably. So I'll go first.
I don't
this
remember,
time.
to be honest. But we
Well-
can start off with the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah. So let's gear up for a blizzard at the zoo because we got some Arctic monkeys. All right. So the album again is called "Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not," and this album
Yep.
came out in 2006.
Yeah.
So it's 13 years old. It's a teenager.
It's a teenager.
It's a teenager album. This was their debut album,
Yeah.
and they were already pretty well known in the UK before this.
Right.
There was a ton of hype like surrounding them even before this came out.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of surprising for their debut, you know.
Yeah.
But this was the fastest selling album in British music history.
Really?
It sold 360,000 records in its first week.
Dang.
It went on eventually to sell 1.8 million in the UK, 500,000 in the US, and then a ton other places. But
Yeah.
I think it's still like the fastest selling album, like the fastest or quickest selling, whatever you want to word that as,
Yeah.
in 1 week or whatever you want to call it.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, like I said, they had lots of success because they had been a band for not too long, but they were releasing stuff, playing shows. And MySpace was big and file sharing, so people were getting their demos and stuff and sharing it all over the place. And the band was all for that. They're like, yeah, just whatever gets us more exposure, just
Yeah.
get it somehow.
Yep.
Metallica was definitely not on that train.
No, they were not.
Yeah, crazy. But before this album came out, 8 of the 13 songs were released, whether it was
Really?
singles or whether they were on other releases like demos or something.
Yeah.
8 songs would come out, which is an insane
Dang.
amount. So
Yeah, that's a lot.
if you like 8 of the songs, wow, here's going to come 8 polished versions of the songs you already know.
Yeah. Already
Actually,
know and love.
I haven't even heard like some of those demos. I'd like to go back and find some of the demo stuff that they released, but yeah.
It must be good enough for people to like.
I'd say so. The album title is from a book by Alan Silto. I believe I'm pronouncing his name right. And the book is called Saturday Night and Sunday Morning.
Okay.
So that kind of makes sense.
I kind of get it. Yeah.
Party
by that
scene,
title, but yeah, by what some of the songs are about.
Yeah, a lot of their songs have a very common theme. Arguably a bit of a concept album, perhaps.
Maybe.
And I think the last track would be an argument as to why it's a concept album, but
Okay.
Loosely a concept album.
Okay.
I would classify this as like poppy garage rock.
Yeah.
British post-punk.
British
dance
post-punk maybe,
pop?
because it is pretty dancey, isn't it?
Super dancey.
Yeah. But not
and-
like electronic dancey.
Yeah. In the
It's
way that
like-
like a dance like drum beat is repetitive, I'm gonna be repetitive by saying that each song is catchy and dancey. So
Yeah, okay.
if I say that a lot, that's why. Most of the songs, like I said, that concept are about like going out, going clubbing,
Yeah.
hanging out with your friends, drinking, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's like a early 20s anthem album, I guess. Just what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And the clubbing scene. It's I know all about that.
Yeah. Definitely, man.
No, I don't. Maybe it's different in the UK. I don't really know.
You know what?
I feel like
I'll
it
bet
probably
is.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna learn. All right, let's dive in, shall we?
You never plan to go to the UK and go clubbing?
I'm not gonna say it's never gonna happen, but that's not my plan.
Okay.
I'd like to go to different places in the UK
Same
and
here.
try pubs as opposed to clubs. A public house,
Pubs
not
as it closed?
public houses, not clublic houses.
Gosh.
Pubs, not clubs.
Remember that, kids. Pubs, not clubs.
That'd be a good T-shirt, wouldn't it?
Pubs, not clubs.
Because I think there's a T-shirt that's called "Pugs, Not Drugs." So this is
yeah.
the other version.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive in, shall we?
We shall.
All right, so this very first song is called "A View from the Afternoon."
Oh.
It's my first recommendation, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5.
Nice.
I know I pretty much say it every single album review, but this is a great opener because it's fast, high energy, and it really exemplifies the sound to come.
Yep.
Not always the case, like when you get little intros or weird things, but this time it's on par.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple other songs that could have been album openers for the same reason, but I feel like this was a good one. It comes in with like the heavy guitars and like that kind of round driving beat on the tom.
Yeah.
And you think it's going to be this heavy rager, and then all of a
Nope.
sudden the distorted guitars get a heck of a lot cleaner.
Yep.
And he does a double time almost on the upbeat thing on the hi-hats. Like makes it dancey but almost punk rocky. It's hard to classify that drum beat. But that's the sound that's going to come back again and again.
Yes. And I quite like it.
Oh, I do too. It's very catchy, very dancey. I think it's not really like the best part in the song, but it threw me off the first couple listens. Like 2/3 of the way through it ends. So you think.
Yeah.
And then the guitars are really panned, and it's not like a dueling guitar sound, but it's like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
And there's like one guitar that's got a slightly syncopated way that they're playing.
Yeah.
And it almost doesn't sound like it fits, but it does.
It totally does.
It
'Cause
totally
when the
does.
drums come back in,
Then it
then
makes
you're
sense.
Like, oh, that makes sense.
Because the first time I heard it, I was like, what the heck? Did they screw up?
Did they screw up?
No, they didn't. The song seems to be about going out for a good time, similar for a lot of the things to come. But it kind of mocks the nightlife scene a little bit.
Mhm.
And they do that from time to time on this album, especially as we get to the latter portion of the album.
Yeah.
Moving on to track number 2, which is called "I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor." I gave this 4.5 out of 5.
Good on
Also,
the dance floor.
second recommendation for
Oh,
me.
really?
Yes. I think this was a very catchy one after the first listen.
Yeah.
Like, I liked the first song, but I was sold on the second song
Mm.
when I listened to them the first time. This was the first single to be released on the album.
Okay.
Probably a good choice, I'd say. That's a good one to pick as a single. It's fast and aggressive, but melodic and dancey.
Mhm.
Very catchy. Recipe for success. Kind of like this podcast. Oh, meta.
Oh my gosh.
This one might be a little heavier than some of the other songs, but other songs have their moments too where they shine through.
Yep.
This song is about wanting to have a fling with a girl. Something probably without romance. I think he even says,
Yeah.
you look pretty good. I bet you look pretty good on the dance floor. Are you looking for romance? So I'm not sure what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So he's doesn't really want to get involved with the long-term thing. He wants it to
Yeah.
be a pretty physical, just a short thing.
Yep.
Club scene-y, I guess. You know.
I think so.
Um,
Again, we know the club scene so well.
yeah. Yes, we do. But that's what he's looking for, and
Not.
all he can say for sure or not is he bets that she looks pretty good on the dance floor.
Yeah. How romantic.
Kind of, but not really at all. Moving on to track number 3. The song is called "Fake Tales of San Francisco." I gave this 3.25 out of 5.
Okay.
I did not like it at first, and it's still kind of growing on me. So if I continue to listen to this album, maybe it'll grow more, because I definitely like it a lot more than the first listen. The first listen, I was like, this is dumb. But this was actually a very popular single. This one is pretty well known, and apparently it's a staple in their live show.
Really?
Or at least they play it off. I don't know if it's a staple. It seems to be about going to a show in England. So it's like a fictional band that he's going to see. And the singer in the band is talking about going to San Francisco and like knowing all the good places to go see.
Yeah.
But it turns out that singer's never been to America and he's lying. So it's literally fake tales of San Francisco. He's kind of trying to do that because it's cool and trendy to say that.
Oh, okay.
And it's pretty much him calling him out on that.
Hmm.
And he kind of gets to that point where I think it's the chorus. It's hard to sometimes tell what their choruses are.
Yeah.
But they go with that, I don't want to hear you kick me out, kick me out. So I think he's trying to leave the show because he doesn't like it. He's getting kind of peeved by this fake tales of San Francisco.
Fake tales of San Francisco.
And then I can't remember the exact wording, but later on in the song he's talking about like you're talking about going to New York, but you're from Rotterdam or something, like some weird little city in England or UK somewhere. But it's not a bad song. Moving on to track number 4, which is called Dancing Shoes.
Oh, put on your dancing shoes.
Just as this is track number 4, I gave it a rating of 4 out of 5. Again, very catchy, super dancey, which is probably why they called it Dancing Shoes, because it's all for the dancing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they definitely have that accented hi-hat like beat on the upbeat, so skats.
Yeah.
Put on your dancing shoes. Bum, 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 bum. And this song in particular is about seeing a girl at a club who he is attracted to, but he's just a little too shy to go up and say how he feels.
So he's telling himself to put on dancing shoes?
I think so, but he definitely wants to go talk to this girl, and he never does.
Yeah.
That's okay, though. It happens. Moving on to track number 5. This song is called, and let me catch my breath real quick before I say this.
Okay.
You probably couldn't see for the lights, but you were staring straight at me. Whew, that was a long one. I gave that 3.5 out of 5. That's a very long title.
It is.
But makes sense. We've all had those instances where you think somebody's staring straight at you, but it turns out like they're not.
Oh, right, yeah.
Usually it's like where they're looking at someone behind you.
I've done that multiple times where
me
I'm just
too.
like staring into space.
Why is this? Yeah, I do too.
And then you're like, wait, why is that person staring at me?
And that's why. In this instance, he's referring to a specific event where there was this group that he liked, and I'm guessing their lead singer was a girl because they used the pronoun he and she or she, and the frontman was a she, and he was attracted to her, and he thought that like she was on stage playing. He's like, she's looking at me, like that kind of
for
thing.
The lights.
Yeah. When you're on stage, you might be able to see the
anything.
person in the front row, but you can't see anything. The bright lights will blind you.
Yeah.
So that's what he's talking about.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of, and he's confirmed that, so I'm not BSing.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Because sometimes I do BS things. There's a weird vocal melody that's almost doubled by the guitar. Da 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 da. And it's kind of took me aback the first time I heard it, but I like how it's doubled by the guitar and bass.
Yeah.
But it's 3.5 out of 5. It's not my favorite, but it's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Moving on to track number 6, which I also gave 3.5 out of 5.
Oh.
This is called Still Take You Home. Like the last song, this is another fast one. But I'd say it gets a little heavier with this one. It's about him thinking that this girl's overrated and not special.
But
he still wants to take her home.
Yeah.
But the curious thing about this song is on the second verse and then again on the third verse, she gets more and more appealing. In the third verse, and I think he even says like it's a year later. But he sees her in a club again and talking about how like he's very much attracted to her and she's something. So it's hard to tell if like either something's changed or maybe he's been drinking. But either way, he's going to take her home.
Gotcha.
Yeah, odd though. Moving on to track number 7. This song is called Riot Van and I gave it 3 out of 5. This is, I'd say, the first part in the album where you finally get a big shift in sound.
Yeah, definitely.
They finally slow it down. And a lot of it's like really reserved and stripped back. I believe it's just guitar and vocals for the whole song.
For either the whole song or most of it.
Most of it. And a riot van, it would be like a van that's got the cops in it. Not like a paddy wagon, but maybe a paddy wagon. I don't really know.
I'm not sure. It must be a British thing.
It is. But it's really reserved back. It's not my favorite song on the album, but it's kind of nice to have a little bit of change of pace when you're getting hammered by this fast, dancey music.
Yeah.
And the song's about him and his buddies getting into a mischief, and then eventually having runs in with the cops.
Saying like, look out,
Run-ins?
it's the coppers.
Run-ins
Run-ins
with the cops.
Having run-ins. Yeah, run-ins.
Run-ins with the cops. Moving on to track number 8. This song is called Red Light Indicates Doors Are Secured. I gave this 3.5 out of 5. And I didn't really know what that means. And that's the very last line in the song. What that means is, I don't know if this is a British thing. I think it is. In taxi cabs, like in the back seat, there's a red light that's on. And when it's on, that means your doors are secured. They're locked.
Oh.
And that's so that people can't bail out of the cab out and ditch on their fare.
I'm guessing it's probably similar. I've only ridden in one taxi.
I've ridden in a couple, but like they're always like normal cars that I don't think lock.
Yeah.
At least I didn't notice. Maybe they were locking and unlocking after the fare was paid.
Maybe if you're in a taxi in like New York, they do that.
Could be. But this song is like recounting this night of leaving a club while you're drunk and just getting into shenanigans. Like he wants to jump out of the cab after he realizes that after only a couple meters, the fare's already up to like £250 or whatever that relates to.
Yeah.
This album is super British. They say a lot of weird things. But speaking of the British things, his accent comes through so strong.
Yeah, it really does.
Like it's just like not struggle, it's struggle. I can't even say how he says it, but it's very apparent, and it's not always the case with British singers.
Yeah,
like the Beatles, oftentimes you can't really pick up on their accent.
And I think that maybe some of their later stuff, it's toned down a little bit.
Could be, because I knew one of their later songs. I think it's called Brain Dead. Something like that, I didn't even know they were British. Maybe I didn't listen close enough, but I didn't know they were British till I listened to this album. All right, moving on to track number 9. This song is called Marty Bum.
Marty Bum.
Yeah, and it took me. I had to look that one up too.
That's probably a British term.
It is. I gave this 4.5 out of 5. So I did have to look up Marty Bum, and it is slang for somebody who's being like sulky or moody.
Yeah.
Like, I think the example they gave it was like if someone says they're fine, but they're visually like really upset and like being like a Debbie Downer. Maybe Debbie Downer would be a good Marty Bum.
Marty Bum.
You're being you're being Marty Bum. You're being a Debbie Downer.
You're being a real Debbie Downer.
So I gave this an honorable mention actually.
Okay.
Because I thought it was a cool, different sound for the song based on some of the other ones. In this case, thematically in the song, I think he's talking about his girlfriend or somebody's got a relationship to, and he says that she's got a face, she's being Marty Bum, and then he's like preparing for this fight that's going to ensue, and then he's reflecting on like old times that they had that were so good, but clearly it's not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah, it's got a. And it'll happen again later, but this song starts off with that soft, kind of clean tone.
Yeah.
But then it picks up big time. They do that in a couple other songs, which will come up soon. Moving on to track number 10, which is called Perhaps Vampire is a Bit Strong, but... I gave this 3.5 out of 5. This picks up the speed a lot from the last one.
Yeah.
And the vampires that he refers to would be like the fake supporters, the people who, now that they're famous, are all on board. But those people who still would assume that the Arctic Monkeys are not going to succeed.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And saying they're vampires, he doesn't care for them. So perhaps vampire is a bit strong, but I think he concurs that word is appropriate.
Yeah.
Moving on to track number 11, which is called When the Sun Goes Down. I gave it 4 out of 5, and it's the second of my 3 honorable mentions. I had a hard time narrowing this one down. This was another single from the album. I think it's got a fun, clean guitar, and it's pretty much just like during the intro, a clean guitar. It's another one where it's the guitar and the vocals and soft, and then it kind of picks up.
Yeah.
But the intro and the outro are the same, where it's kind of that slow, laid back one. And this one starts off with him saying like, "What's that girl there?" And then he's talking about that one guy who's scummy.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I didn't really pick up, and it's pretty obvious when you listen to the words, but I didn't pick up on it necessarily the first couple listens. But he's talking about a girl who's a prostitute, like looking at her, kind of like wondering, like, well, how'd she get there?
Yeah.
And then he sees a guy who is probably her pimp, but he's not entirely sure. That's what he suspects as he's viewing it. And he's kind of contemplating like the situations and like what all is going on there.
Yeah.
And he made a reference to Roxanne, the song.
Oh, really?
If you listen again, he's like, that guy made Roxanne put on a red light.
Oh.
So maybe that's what the song Roxanne's about too.
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe.
Could be. I have no idea. I've never really looked into the lyrics for Roxanne by the Police.
Roxanne. Remember that time in the office when
Kevin's in
Kevin's band
Scrantonicity.
Scrantonicity is covering that song.
Let's move on to track number 12.
Okay.
This song is called From the Ritz to the Rebel. I gave it 4.5 out of 5, and it's my last honorable mention.
Last honorable mention.
This is a fun song. It's fast, and it doesn't really, again, have a chorus, but maybe there's a chorus. I don't know. I have a really hard time getting
their choruses aren't. It's not like really well defined.
No, it's not.
Like they don't just all of a sudden. It's like, all right, this is the pre-chorus. All right, this is the chorus. All right, we're back to the verses.
Yeah, they kind of have weird formulas that they go by.
Yeah.
This song is a kind of a fun song. He talks about going to a club, but the bouncer doesn't like him, so the bouncer doesn't let him into the club. Like maybe
really?
him and his friend, they make them step out of line and get out of there, which is kind of funny. But he still ends up going out and drinking and going home with a girl, and I think the next day he recounts the events to the girl. But when Sunday morning comes, he knows that everything has changed from Saturday night. Like he's saying, like this could happen on Sunday morning, or like this could have happened on Saturday, but not on Sunday morning. And I think that kind of relates to that book title that the album was inspired by. And let's move on to the last track, shall we?
We shall.
This song's called A Certain Romance. I give it 5 out of 5. It's my last recommendation. And I'd say it's probably my favorite song on the record.
This is the song that I knew the album for before I listened to it.
I didn't recognize this before listening to the album, but
yeah,
I would know it going forward. It starts off with that driving tom roll, so it sounds like he's pounding the tom, and the heavy guitar, and you don't really know where the song is going to go, and it goes exactly where you don't expect it to go.
Yeah,
that cuts out, and then it's that soft guitar line that's, and then you're like, what the heck?
Right, yeah.
And then it goes even farther where you don't expect it to go. The guitar comes in, the upbeat, and bap, kind of like a ska song.
Yeah.
There's another song there's a couple other songs on this record that have, I wouldn't call them ska feels, but different.
They have slightly that leaning towards that type of feel.
Yeah. But this one has the most ska feel out of any of the records. Kind of like how the Clash sometimes had some ska influenced music. This is their
reggae.
Their reggae influence, yeah.
Yeah.
Super catchy song, and it's like infectious after the first listen.
Yeah.
I think that this is the reason why the album can be tied together as a concept album, because all the other
last song.
Yeah, well, that and it's just this song makes more sense to be at the end thematically. Like all the other songs, there's a lot about going out and doing stuff, but this song kind of examines that culture a little bit. The people who are in it. He's talking about those guys who wear the Reeboks and the jumpsuits, the tracksuits. If you watch any movies from England, you've probably seen people like that. I think it's a fairly common thing. Even in Harry Potter, whenever Dudley's on the wrestling team and older, he's wearing goofy stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's weird, because
it must be like what the normal quote unquote jock wears over there or something like that.
He's critiquing it, like saying that those people are like idiots. They like to go out, have a couple cans, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
You play pool, get in a fight after having a couple cans because after drinking you've got the right to do that or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's talking about how that's like that culture and that scene's dumb. And he's calling it out. But then at the very end he admits that he's got friends that are in that group that sometimes cross the line, and maybe he has more in common with them than he thinks.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a little bit of being united there. So I think that's him saying like that scene, even though in a lot of the songs he's mocking that club scene, he's still a part of it, or it's a part of him.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they put this song at the end, just for that reason.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But that's speculation. I'm not really sure. That's just my commentary.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it's a fairly good record with some fairly good playback.
Yeah,
it's got
I
that,
agree.
that playback factor. So I will come back to this.
It's one of those. It's one of those albums that like I won't listen to on repeat.
Yeah,
But if I'm like, oh, I should listen to that. Like I
haven't heard that
the
in a
Arctic
while. I'd
Monkeys,
like to-
yeah. I haven't heard that in a while. I should listen to that. Yeah.
I'd like to listen to some of their other stuff now too. I think I'll do that.
The only other album I've listened to by them is the one that's all black and then it has like the white sound waves on it.
Yeah, I think it's
I've
is it
listened to that
FM
one.
something or
Yeah,
that
something like that, and it's much different than that.
yeah. I'll have to give
It's not the same at all.
that a listen, perhaps.
But why don't we
Switch gears a little.
in terms of context,
Yeah,
or like content, I mean,
yeah.
it's still like pretty fast, and I would say some of the songs are fairly dancey.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
But we're going to switch over to talking about the Vandals, their album Hitler Bad, Vandals Good. If you don't know who the Vandals are, they're a punk band that started in the 80s. And this album came out in 1998, and it's their 7th studio album.
It's that
So-
old?
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was that old.
so they had been a band for a while.
Wow.
I don't know if I would call this a comedy album, but it's definitely, the lyrics are rooted in humor though.
Yes, and that's true of a lot of Vandals records.
Yeah.
They just are tongue in cheek, very
Yeah, very, very tongue in cheek is a good way to put
yeah.
it. So anyway, there aren't really many metaphorical things in this album. There are a couple things that are metaphorical or songs that have a little bit of a deeper meaning. But a lot of them are very face value. Like the lyrics are what they are, and that's exactly what they mean.
They're trying to be goofy.
Yeah, most of them are just trying to be goofy.
They do not take themselves seriously.
No,
They
no.
take their musicianship seriously.
Oh yeah, they're great musicians.
but
It's just they're like, we're gonna make a song about blank, and then
because
they
we think
do.
it's funny.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what they do.
Yep. So why don't we start off with track number 1?
That's always a good place to start.
This song is called "People That Are Going to Hell." This might be kind of like a satirical song from the point of view of a religious person who like doesn't really care about other people doing things wrong. They're like, I don't really care because I know that all those people who do bad things are going to hell.
Yes, yeah. I'd say that's a good way to look at it because they're being in the punk rock scene. They're
Yeah,
not the kindest towards religion.
yeah.
Yeah,
And this song is evident
yeah,
of that.
the people that are going to hell.
So yeah, I think that first track is pretty much just about a satirical take on some religious people. Not all religious people, but
Almost,
maybe ones that they have come in contact with.
and not the same, but that direct hit album, "Brain This God." You
Yeah.
remember it's not the first song, but I think it's the second song. During the nuclear holocaust is happening, and so they have that second song from the view of the religious people,
Yeah,
telling everyone that they're going to hell.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of like that, but
yeah,
different.
yep. Definitely different, but similar in some
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
Track number 2 is called Cafe 405.
Cafe 405.
One of the lines in it is he says, "I think I'm in love with you, red, yellow, white, and blue." I don't know if he's in love with the cafe, or if he's in love with a girl there, or if he's in love with the food there, but it could be any one of those.
Yeah, I never really knew
Because
what
he
this
talks
was
about
about.
someone jumping around on a pogo stick, and them being way more than a 5 to 9. So I think it
More
might
than a
be
jo-
he's in love with a diner or a cafe
Probably.
or something. But
He's in love with the
this
Cafe
album,
405.
this album is full of goofy ideas like that.
And a lot of their stuff is.
Yeah,
Like they're on a different album, they've got a song called "My Oversized Head" or whatever. I think it's. I can't remember what the song's called. I'll think of it and I'll bring it up later.
okay. Track number 3.
My disproportioned head.
My disproportionate. Well, hey, you were true to what you said. That
Yeah.
is later.
That's my favorite Vandals song. I should have known.
Is it?
It really is. Well, no, it's not. But it's up
Is
there.
more? What's your favorite Vandal song?
Might be "Oi to the World." I don't know. Remember that was on my Christmas list?
Yeah.
Yeah. Either that or "My Girlfriend's Dead" or "Disproportioned Head." So it's up there.
Well,
Or "Eurobarge." I don't know.
well, the next song, track number 3, is called "My Girlfriend's Dead," and this is one of my
Oh.
recommendations.
Good choice.
It's so funny. Dun, 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 dun. This is a song about how his girlfriend dumped him, but it's really hard for him to deal with that. So whenever people ask him where's his girlfriend, he just says that she's dead.
Yeah, he's embarrassed or ashamed.
Yeah. And I love the harmonies in the I guess maybe the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, my girlfriend's dead.
My girlfriend's dead, you see. Yeah.
It's just such a ridiculous song.
It's absurd.
Yeah, and he like talks about how he like knows it's wrong to like lie to people, but whenever they are like really concerned for him, it makes him feel good.
Yeah, I think what's he say? I don't want to talk about her, but someone always asks about her, so I tell them all, my girlfriend's dead.
My girlfriend's dead.
My girlfriend's dead, you see. It's so stupid, but
So
so
dumb.
funny.
But yeah, that's one of my recommendations. I think it shows off their musicality pretty well, especially with those like really high harmonies that they all hit, and just in general, good fast punk song.
I just say so, yes.
Track number 4 is called "I Know," huh? And the song is about having a crush on a girl. Her name is Sandra, and he knows that her brothers and like her dad don't like him, but he still wants to go hang out with her and whatnot.
That's a pretty common thing, right?
Yeah,
Especially for people in the music, like the music nerds growing up.
yeah. But it goes like, Sandra, I know, huh?
He's got a very unique voice.
Yeah, he does.
His name is Dave Quackenbush.
Yeah, it's a really funny name. I don't think it's not that weird though.
It's odd. It's unique.
Yeah,
It's hard to describe.
I was never like, I'm gonna have to get used to his voice.
No, I don't. Some people may say that, but it's not. It's not like super out there, but it's different.
Yeah, it's definitely different, but not that bad. Not
Yeah.
that different.
Niche.
On to track number 5, which is my next recommendation.
Oh,
It's called "Money's Not an Issue." This is again a very catchy song. It has some dope melodies in it, and the whole premise behind this song is this guy is talking to his girlfriend, and he's like, "I know it's been really tough lately. Like you've been really busy with the twins, and like you deserve so much better than this. So I'm gonna take you out tonight, and it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be super proper." And then like he like builds up that this date night is gonna be rad and totally cool. And then at the end of the song, he's like, he says, "It's gonna be awesome because I found $20." So money's not an issue. Like he keeps saying like, "Don't worry, like money's not an issue. We're just gonna go out and have a great time tonight, and it's because I found $20."
they're going to McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. One of the lines is, "Feel free to supersize it." It's so ridiculous.
It's absurd.
That's one of my recommendations. And track number 6 is also one of my recommendations
Oh,
because it's hilarious. The song is called "I've Got an Ape Drape."
I've got an ape.
I've got an ape drape, yes I do. Like giving up to everyone, that means you. You can go to something and get one too, and then you'll have an ape drape like I do.
So odd.
It's a song all about the mullet, essentially, is the haircut that he's talking about.
Yeah, growing up in Pittsburgh, lots of people had mullets.
Really?
And in fact, if one was to go to a Pirates game, anytime in the 90s probably, and I think I only remember this at Three River Stadium, so it probably was the 90s, they did something called the mullet cam,
Oh, really?
where on the Jumbotron, they would just pick people out of the crowd who had mullets and show them.
That's hilarious.
Like, there's the kiss cam. I've heard
mullet
of that.
cam.
But in Pittsburgh, we had the mullet cam. And it was the best because there was always an abundance of mullets in 90s Pittsburgh.
That's pretty funny. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's the the melody for that. And then later in the song, he goes through a whole bunch of other names that I think they came up with for the mullet. So one of them is "I've got hockey hair, yes I do."
Mm-hmm.
They're giving it to everyone, and that means you. So you can go to Canada and get one too, and you'll have hockey hair like I do.
True.
I have achy breaky hair, yes I do. They're giving it to everyone. That means you.
What's that guy?
You
Billy
can go
Ray
to
Cyrus.
Nashville and get one too, and you'll have achy breaky hair like I do.
Billy
And then
Ray
he
Cyrus
says-
definitely had a mullet.
Then he says mullet, and then he says forbidden hair for Europe. and then Shong hair for Florida. Apparently, I don't know what Shong hair is, but I just whenever I first heard this song and he said "icky breaky hair," I was like,
because you know exactly what he means.
yeah,
Classic.
so funny. So yeah, that was one of my recommendations.
Is that all of them out
A
of the way already?
hilarious song. I may have recommended 4 songs.
Well, I recommended 3 and honorably mentioned 3, so
Yeah.
I broke the mold a little today.
Track number 7 is called "If the Government Could Read My Mind." If the government could read my mind, you know I'm thinking of you. That's pretty much what the whole song is about. It's like, well, because apparently they talk about a lot of conspiracy theories in some of their songs.
And they get a little political on some of their albums, but not really on this one.
Yeah. So basically, that's the whole idea behind the song is that if the government could read my mind, they know I'm thinking about you.
So it's a love song at the same time.
Yeah. Track number 8 is called "Too Much Drama."
Mm-hmm.
And it's a song about a kid whose parents are like divorced, I guess, and how this kid learns everything valuable from all the families on TV.
Probably a latchkey kid if this came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
He was watching the after school, well, not after school specials, but all the...
He's watching all the reruns.
Yeah.
Like I think some of the shows he mentions are Three's Company.
Three's Company too.
But anyway, that's the basic idea behind that song. Pretty good. I don't know. All these songs are good.
They're all good.
So track number 9 is one that is not a comedy song. It is a cover from the band Pennywise. It's called "Come Out Fighting."
Do you know what album that Pennywise song's on?
No, but it was before '98.
Well, that's for sure.
But anyway, they covered this song because in the previous year, the bassist from Pennywise, Jason Matthew Thirsk, had committed suicide.
Yes.
And so
And this was one of the ones that Jason had played on.
Yeah.
So it would have been their first record.
Yeah.
Like, do you know the song Bro Him?
Yeah, that song.
Oh.
Yeah, he had written that about
Jason Matthew Thirsk had written that for friends that had passed away.
Yeah.
But then on a Pennywise album that came out a little later called... I can't remember what it was called.
Something.
They re-recorded a live version of it.
Yeah.
And they replaced those 3 people's name who had died with Jason's name. They say, Jason Matthew Thirsk, this one's for you.
Yeah. And so this was, I'm assuming that the Vandals were probably good buddies with them.
Yeah, they're
with
California
Pennywise.
punk rock guys.
Yeah.
They all kind of knew each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was kind of like their tribute to him.
Yeah.
So not a joke song at all.
Because they didn't write it.
Yeah, but still a very good song. Track number 10 is called Euro Barge, and this is a kind of like a xenophobic song against Europeans.
Xenophobic.
I
I hate that word.
I know, so do I.
I mean, it's a good catch-all. It is just a catch-all term for
it's like they're like talking about their annoyances,
intolerance for Europeans.
annoyances with Europeans. Yeah. Like they talk about like, why don't you guys wear deodorant?
Yeah.
Like, you guys smell bad.
Why don't you have personal space?
Yeah. Why don't you wait in lines?
Yeah. Here in
Now,
America, respect your fellow man. Some other cultures don't understand. We've got this little rule. It's called first come, first served.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're being completely serious. Like, maybe they toured in Europe and like those are just things that annoyed them about Europe.
It could be. But I think they're, again, being a little tongue-in-cheek, saying, obviously, that's... Maybe they're making fun of the Americans who get upset with that. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. But it's so catchy.
But that game was also... Not that game. That song was featured on the game Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
The first one.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That was the first time I heard the Vandals, was that.
That was the first time I heard a lot of bands. Yeah. A lot of, like, ska punk bands.
Like Goldfinger I heard off there the first time.
Goldfinger, Suicidal Tendencies? Were they on there? Or was it Suicide Machines?
Probably Suicide Machines. New Girl.
New Girl, yeah. I heard that, and I was always like, wow, this is great music.
This is great.
And then I would never went and found out who it was.
Yeah. Even Dead Kennedys were on the first one, I think, also.
Yeah.
Oh, such a good soundtrack.
It really is.
Yeah.
So alas, I did not learn about any of those bands till later in life. But I could have whenever I was playing it on N64.
I mean, I remember listening. The first one was Goldfinger with Superman. I remember
Mhm.
hearing that, and I went to my computer. I
I
went to Google or wherever it was at the time. I don't. Maybe I used Ask Jeeves. I don't know,
Yeah.
or maybe Yahoo. Yahoo.
Yahoo.
And I typed in. I was like song lyrics, and I typed in every lyric I could remember from that song. And
Really?
I found it. Yeah.
Funny. Anyway, on to my last recommendation.
Oh.
Track number 11. It's called Effed Up Girl. This song, what would you say the style of this song is? Is it like big band jazz, 12-bar blues type?
Yeah. It doesn't
It's
sound
like-
like the other.
It's got like a lot of horns, like a really like walking bass line. It's like really dramatic sounding.
It's an odd placement,
Yeah, but
but it kind of fits.
it's
At the same
super catchy though.
Yeah.
So this song is all about dating a girl, or like wanting to like date a girl who's clinically insane. It's so ridiculous, and I love the music in this song, and so that's why that's pretty much the reason I recommended it.
That's a good
But
reason.
and it's just kind of funny. He's like, what's one of the lines? It's like, I can't remember. Can't remember.
I can't
But it's really
remember.
good though. Track number 12 is called "An Idea for a Movie."
I like this song a lot.
The song is pretty awesome. This song is basically him saying a bunch of different ideas for a movie. And I think one of them is like about this kid who gets stuck in a bottle and has like adventures.
Yeah, it's
And then another one is about this guy who like really wanted to learn how to fly, and eventually he did. But wait, we forgot to mention that he could only fly for a little bit and only an inch off the ground. And so like during the song he's like, I've got an idea for this movie. And then after he gives the idea, he's like, is it too soon to whisper Oscar?
put a happy ending there and it'll ride itself, I swear.
It's just a very goofy, silly song. Very much like it, but I did not recommend it.
I would have recommended it.
On to track number 13. Track number 13 is called Okay. And at the beginning of the song, it starts off like really fast. Like, like super fast like that. And then it just starts off with two of them talking back and forth to each other. One of them's like, hey, buddy, how's it going? How are you? And he's like, I'm all right. I'm doing all right, buddy. How about you?
He's fast. When
I'm
he
okay.
does
I'm
it.
okay. I'm 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 okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is basically a song about not letting other people like tell you how to feel, or basically just being yourself and having that good old PMA that a lot of the punk rockers,
Positive mental attitude.
that a lot of the punk rockers ascribe to, which is a good thing to ascribe to. Positive mental attitude is a great thing to have,
I'd say so.
and it makes a pretty big difference in life. So that's basically what this song is about. There's also a Spice Girls reference in it.
Is there?
Yeah, he says, it's the tell me what you want, what you really, really
Oh,
want. He
okay.
says, all right, I'll tell you what you want, what I really, really want. Well, that's
that
it.
is the time,
That's
too.
all. That's like all.
Or I'll tell you what.
The only part
for,
from-
yeah,
The only
that-
part that they say.
That's time appropriate. This was back in the day when Spice Girls were big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Classic.
So yeah, that was track number 13. Just a positive song about living your life the way you want to live it, as long as it doesn't
the
hurt
only
other
way
people.
to live it.
I'm all about that. What's that way of thinking called?
That's not libertarian, is it?
Libertarian, yeah. No, but it's like a different thing. Like
There's
the
different-
philosophical idea of
I can't remember what
doing
it is.
whatever you want as long as it doesn't harm other people.
I don't know, kind of like that Bad Religion song, "Do What You Want, Just Don't Do It Around Me." But that's different.
I can't remember what it's called. While Steve's looking that up, I'll introduce the next song. The last song in the album, which after you guys hear what this is, I would hope that, and actually after you go and listen to it, I would really enjoy it if they ended their shows with this song, like every single time.
That would be appropriate.
The song is called "So Long, Farewell." And now, for those of you who know the musical "The Sound of Music," you will know this Rodgers and Hammerstein classic. It's the so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye to you and you and you and you and you. Yeah, but basically they put their own spin on it, and it's hilarious. It starts off with this like weird sounding instrument. It's going bow, wow, wow, bow, wow, wow, bow, wow, wow.
That's how it starts in the original one. Sound of Music, right?
But it just sounds strange being on a punk album. And then yeah, they just cover the song. But a lot of the things that they say in the song, they like pronounce words very like comically and kind of dumb and weird. Like they say auf Wiedersehen, goodbye to you and you and you and you and you. They just like pronounce things really weird and have funny instrumentation in the song. But it's I feel like it's a fairly decent way to end the album. They're just saying like, goodbye everybody, thanks for listening.
It's a good album, a good way to close an album, but you're right, it would be a good way to close a show.
Yeah. Have you seen the Vandals live?
I've never seen them live. I've had one. Well, they came through Pittsburgh once when I was here, and I was really mad.
Yeah.
I can't find that what the term is for the philosophy of doing what you want as long as it doesn't hurt other. The harm principle. That's the only thing I can find.
I don't know.
Libertarianism.
Anyway.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. Anyway, so overall, I think that album is awesome.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy other music from the Vandals as well.
Yeah,
whether it's a Christmas album or whether it's any of their older stuff. They haven't put
Oi to the World.
Oi to the World's a good one. They haven't put out music in a long while.
Yeah, I was reading some review of this album, and they were like, even though they haven't put out music since 2004, they're one of my favorite bands still.
I think the 2004 was called Internet Dating Super Studs or something stupid like that.
That sounds hilarious.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to next week. We are going to be returning to the one-off series. Last one-off was a good remembrance of Mac Miller's final album.
Yes.
Next one-off will be a little near and dear to my heart.
Yes, quite near and quite dear.
It is the Untitled album by the greatest band in the world.
Not self-titled, right?
No, Untitled. A lot of people will say self-titled. That's incorrect. Untitled.
Is it titled, untitled?
No, it's just there's nothing. There's no title.
Right. So for purposes of, what's the word that I'm looking for? For purposes of logging the album.
Yeah.
It has to have in the brackets untitled.
Yeah. But most places will give it the self-titled or titled after the band. Blink 182.
Yes.
A lot of people will say it's the album Blink 182 by Blink 182, but that's technically
not
untrue.
What it is. And Steve would know.
I would know, guys.
Trust me on this one.
I named it myself.
Oh.
Pause not. But I'm very excited for that one.
Yeah, so am I, actually. I've only listened to that album probably 2 or 3 times all the way through.
Well, I've listened to it quite a few times through.
You've probably listened to it like 100 times through. Also, how many copies of this do you have on vinyl?
Only 3.
Only 3.
But I probably got about at least 4 copies on CD. And I think, I definitely have it on cassette tape.
Well, hey, you can never have too many copies of this album.
It's true. It's a great one.
I guess.
So I'm looking forward to that. And then after that, we will return to our regular format episodes, but we'll let you know about those albums later.
Next week.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's finish our beers.
Any final thoughts?
Mine's been solid the whole way through. It didn't really change too much.
Same here.
I was happy with it.
As I've gotten to the bottom of this, I think there's the tiniest little bits of sediment.
Yeah, I see a little in there.
So I think
if you were to look in mine, you would see, like, here, just take a hold of my glass and peek in there. It looks a heck of a lot hazier than it did before. I've actually had to shake it up a couple times because the sediment settled at the bottom.
Yeah, and I think maybe if I would have given my can like a quick turn before I had opened it,
you probably would have got more.
Tasted a little bit different. So the end of this beer is tasting a lot better than it did before.
Would you get that again?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that you probably have at least a 4-pack of that, right?
Nope, I bought a single one from Craft Brewed.
Oh, a good choice.
I ended work today near Craft Brewed.
Oh, awesome.
So I decided to go there to get a beer for tonight.
Bienvenidos, beer. Craft Brewed is here. All right, well, let's give our magic cheers, finish the beers, and sign off.
Sounds like a plan.
People do.
Whenever I was saying sounds like a plan, I was gonna start saying sounds good, but then I said sounds like a plan, so I was like, sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan.
Anyway, cheers.
Classic. Delicious. Man, that really doesn't taste like an IPA. It's so good.
I know. This one also doesn't.
It tastes like a session.
It tastes more like an
or
IPA
a weird
than
pale ale.
yours does, but
or hoppy lager. I don't know. It's hard to describe.
It does not taste like a double IPA, though. That's for sure.
Either way, good brews,
Yes.
good tunes, and
Good life.
Good life. Yeah, good life. PMA.
PMA, everybody. PMA.
Once again, my name is Steven Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
And we'll catch y'all later, American Brews and Tunes. Did I say, do we catch y'all?
Catch you all later.
Let me redo that. Oh, we'll catch yous later. Down on the south side with American Brews and Tunes and that.
Oh, I'll see you later, eh?
Sure.
We'll see you later, everybody, okay? Next time on American Brews and Tunes.
With the riff raff.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity baby